Welcome back to Retirement Today. This again is Michael Reese, certified financial planning professional. And I've been doing this for the last 25 plus years. And I've got my special guest this week, Miss Elizabeth James, who is a 19-year veteran of the financial industry, right?
Yes, hard to believe, but it is true.
You only look like you're 25. I don't know how you do it. So here we go. We just in our last segment had talked a little bit about the number one mistake people make when it comes to their retirement planning. And that mistake was not protecting your income. And that is so important. I mean, I don't think I could stress this enough. If you said to me, Mike, there's only one thing when it comes to retirement planning, there's only one thing you can do, and you got to get this right, otherwise it all falls apart. That's the one. It's protect your income. Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. So but that's not the only mistake people make, right? You
Of
can ask
course
my
not.
wife. I make like multiple mistakes every day, hour by hour. But there's another big mistake. We want to talk about three of them this week. So let's go to number two. So when you think about Elizabeth, when you talk to, I mean, you talk to hundreds of families a year. What's another big mistake that you see happening over and over again?
Well, it is too much risk, Mike.
Okay, too much risk. Like when? Like if I'm 20, if I'm 40, what do you mean?
Well, no, well, too much risk as you get closer and closer to retirement. I see it over and over again. People will come in and will sit down and evaluate their current strategy and portfolio. And lo and behold, they are invested just as they were in their 30s.
So here they are. They're like maybe 58
50,
years old or 62, and they're in a 80% stock, 20% bond portfolio or something.
yes, absolutely. I've even heard people say, well, I set it up when I started my 401k and I haven't changed it. So
Yeah,
we see that too.
or worse, they're in these what do they call them? These life cycle funds,
And
and
they have
yeah,
no idea what's going on.
no clue. By the way, why is this important? Give me an example of why this matters.
Okay, well, let's put this into application. So you are invested in a growth portfolio, too much risk, whether you know it or not, and you are nearing retirement and you are in this growth portfolio. Maybe not even aware of the risk of loss in your portfolio. We have a market correction, a bad year in the market, and you've lost 30, maybe 40%. How do you think that's going to affect your retirement?
Yeah, by the way, I've got a great example of this myself. So, Elizabeth, I had a couple come to the office here. Gosh, had to be well, at this point, maybe about a month ago. Anyway, their goal when they started the year, they said, okay, we want to retire at the end of the year. We figured it's our last year working. And they, in their retirement accounts at the beginning of the year, had about 750,000, right? So pretty good savings. Well, they came to me, end of June, early July. Guess how much they had halfway through the year?
500.
Yeah, well, no, they had a little better, but they were down to 550,
Okay.
right? And they're like, how are we going to retire? We just lost, 20, 30% of our money. And why? It goes back to this very issue that you're talking about. They had been investing, they're getting close to retirement, but they're still investing really aggressively and they didn't even realize it. And half the time people don't know that they're taking the risks that they're taking.
There are 2 points here, Mike. One being people fail to realize that retirement or approaching retirement, it is truly a fundamental shift, right? You have a change in objective and a change in your goals. So you think we might need to change our strategy, right? We can't get the same outcome for different needs here.
Yeah, what does Albert Einstein say? Doing the same thing, expecting a different result is just, you know,
Not a good idea.
I'm sure he's got a word for it. I can't think of it right now.
But the other point that I feel is important and just awareness in general. Most people are just largely unaware of the risk in their portfolio. And I'm going to blame the financial industry on this because there are all of these industry terms that, well, what do they really mean? So a client or a person, they see that they're invested in a balanced portfolio or a moderate portfolio. and it's diversified. So they think that means I'm okay.
Right, right. They open up their statement and they see, here's 20 different funds that I'm in. I must be diversified. So, I'm protected against market losses. I mean, I might lose some money, but nothing serious.
But they really have no idea of really the dollar amount or percentage amount. What does a balanced portfolio mean? And really, Mike, today a balanced portfolio, it can experience a 30% decline.
And usually it loses money right before you need to take it, right? So here's something that I think about when you were talking about the shift in life and how you have to recognize the risk you're taking. I think of it this way, imagine you're on a little lake in a sailboat and you've got the wind behind you. All you got to do is point at where you want to go, right?
You're going to get there.
And you're off and running. And that's kind of like when you're working and growing money. You're adding money to the portfolio. That's like the wind is at your back. But then you notice the wind starts shifting. And you notice that it's shifting. Now it's sideways. Now it's kind of coming in your face. And that represents when you retire. So instead of adding money to the portfolio, you're taking money out. So that's like the wind in your face. And now you need a whole different set of strategies, right, to get to where you want to go. You can't like point your little sailboat right at the shore where you want to go. You have to kind of zigzag your way through, right?
It's a lot more navigation required and obstacles.
Yeah, there you go. So when you're getting close to retirement, it's like when you notice the wind is shifting. And suddenly you have to, if you're in a sailboat, you're like, I need some new strategies here. I can't do what I'm doing now. I got to do something different. That's kind of like what you're talking about. When you're younger and you're working, you can take a lot more risk. And you should be taking risks. That is the time to take risk. But as you age, and especially when you get close to retirement, that's where you can get into trouble, right?
Right. You got to make some big changes because we have a different set of goals and objectives. And let's face it, at retirement, you have worked 25, 30, maybe even longer years in saving this nest egg. And the day you retire, for most of us, that's all there is. So we have got to have some degree of protection and safety on that because why? It's got a job to do. It has to last as long as you do, and it's got to be able to provide this consistent, steady income that will grow.
That's right. It's like my dad said when he retired. Hey, when I'm retired, what I have saved, that's all I got. And it has to last.
Right.
Right? It's that simple. Now, by the way, I want to go back to this couple I was telling you about who, here they are. They're halfway through the year. They're at 550. They still want to retire at the end of the year, but now they're thinking, is it even possible? Well, it turned out that by what we talked about in the first segment, by taking some of their money and carving out and building some of those protected assets, they are still going to be able to retire on time. So we were able to rescue their retirement. But here's the thing. It would have been so much easier if we had done it back in January. But you can't, as my dad would say, you can't cry over spilt milk. That's water under the bridge. You can't go back and fix it. But what you can do is you can say, okay, here's where I am now. Now let's make some smart decisions so that we can move forward in an intelligent way.
Absolutely. And it goes to the saying, you don't know what you don't know, right? So let's all take some time and be proactive and let's get aware and let's see what we have and see what we can do. And a positive note, we often find with clients that they have enough resources, they have enough savings. We just have to restructure some things.
Hey, you need to use some different strategies,
Yeah.
right? It's really that simple. And now here's the thing. And right now it's particularly important that if you're nearing retirement, if you're within 5-10 years of retirement or closer, now is the time. You've got to do something. The markets have been down this year. They bounced back up a little bit. But hey, let's be honest. We're likely moving into a recession here. Markets could go down more. You got to make some smart decisions now before it's too late. So here's the thing. As we wrap up this segment, I just want to take a quick minute and say, if you're in that position, maybe you recently retired, maybe you are going to retire in the next few years. Let's make sure that you've got your financial strategies or ducks in a row. And it's free to do it. I mean, all you have to do is give us a call. We'll put together a personalized Retire Right report. And RIGHT is an acronym. It stands for risk, income, growth, healthcare, and taxes. We just want to make sure you're making smart choices in all those areas. And if you are, guess what? Then you can move towards retirement with anticipation versus apprehension or anxiety.
And we'll even give you a gold star.
That's right. And our goal is to help you attain the status of work being optional as quickly as possible. And once work is optional for you, we want you to be able to maintain that status. So here's what you need to do. Give us a call right now, 512-886-5850. Again, that's 512-886-5850. It's after hours. Just leave a message. We'll set up a time to talk to you. But let's get this ball rolling. It's really easy, really simple. Let's start with a conversation. We only have room for the first 10 people. All right, got to take a break. Coming up after the break, we get to be king and maybe queen for a day. We'll be right back.